Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links just got a massive update in the form of Duel Monsters anime-exclusive characters finally coming to the game. Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another video. So yesterday I spent about 6-7 hours playing the new DM World update, which saw multiple new characters and multiple new alt styles for previous characters come to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Now, this is the first time that we are not getting a brand new world, and that is simply because, well, there is no more worlds to create. There is currently no Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, and with the addition of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush World last year, we are simply out of new worlds to make. Now, they could have made a DM anime world, but they decided to instead add DM anime characters into the pre-existing DM world, which has been established to be a manga world. I'm totally fine with that. So here are my general thoughts on the update. I am mostly positive regarding the update. I think at the end of my stream, I gave it about a 7 out of 10. And I feel like most ratings have either been at that 7 out of 10 point or even higher based on the people that I've talked to over the last 24 hours. I think people generally are pretty favorable in regards to this update. Now, what does this update entail? Well, it entails Rebecca Hawkins and Shizuka Serenity, two characters that are all right. I've always loved Serenity way more than Rebecca personally. I just wish that there was maybe another character at update, and I think that's probably why I'm maybe not as high as some people. I feel like if we just got one other character, whether it was like a Raphael or even a Noah, and I know Noah at the time of recording this video is out, and people will say, it's one freaking day, bro. And you're not wrong to say that, honestly, but I think it would have been cool if he just came yesterday, but whatever, he's out now. I'm excited to play that event a little later on, so at least he's here. At least he's here. We'll be able to unlock him in a couple of days. The other elements that we got were the alt styles for Yami Yugi and Seto Kaiba. Both of their styles are the styles and outfits that they were wearing during the Legendary Heroes arc, which was the arc that was between the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist Kingdom tournament and the Battle City tournament. So, pretty cool there. Personally, that's like my least favorite part of DM. I think Yami Yugi looks great. Seto Kaiba, it's really just his Duelist Kingdom outfit. But hopefully we get Pharaoh Atem pre-Seto. Like, those would be really cool alt styles. But even in regards to the alt styles, if you wanted to wait with Noah, which they decided to do, give us an alt style of like Taya or Joey or, you know, Little Yugi. Like, another alt style I think would have been cool. I just feel like only having 4 new things and 2 of them being costumes were a little underwhelming for a big September update. I know it's not a new world, but it is what it is. I still think it's fine, but I think it just could have used maybe a little bit more firepower. As for the cards, man, they really cooked with the cards. I'll start with the bad. Imperm is finally here. They put it behind a paywall because it's in a selection box. To be expected. It is what it is. But in the main box, Nibiru is a UR. Sword Soul is such a cheap deck to make. It's unbelievable. Both of the Sword Soul Synchro monsters are SRs. I'm sorry, actually, one is an SR and one is an R, and none of them are URs. There is not a single UR Sword Soul card, at least from what I'm remembering, which is unbelievable. Sword Soul is a very popular deck. It's a very good deck. So the fact that they are basically just throwing Sword Soul at you if you invest in this box is really, really cool. Absolutely love that. We got some cool Blue Eyes support. We got some cool Dark Magician support, so that is always really cool to see. You know, Yami Yugi and Seto Kaiba alt styles are 2 of the premier things from this update, and so it makes sense that we're going to get Dark Magician and we're going to get Blue Eyes support. But I want to talk about the most important thing for me, and something I am so happy they did. One of my big questions was whether or not Konami was going to address the fact that for 10 years, Yu-Gi-Oh! DM World and Duel Links was clearly based on the manga and not the anime. It's why up until now we haven't had characters like Rebecca or Darts or Noah or Raphael. This is clearly based on the original Yu-Gi-Oh manga and has nothing to do with the anime. And so with the inclusion of anime characters, I felt it was a must that the game acknowledged that there was something weird going on here with characters that had not existed in the memory banks of the manga versions of these characters that would then exist upon meeting Rebecca, upon meeting Noah. And that is exactly what happens, and I'm so happy about it. One of the biggest cutscenes here, Paradox gets referenced. You remember when Paradox came into the game, I believe it was like 3 or 4 years ago, and he basically talked about how there are multiple worlds. He confirmed the existence of a multiverse, basically, and how memories could be linking with versions of themselves that exist in different worlds. And Yami Yugi says, until the moment we met Rebecca, we didn't know anything about her, and then when she showed us that card, all of these memories kept flooding back. And Yami Yugi says, can it be that our world and this other world are trying to merge together? Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links has done this thing where they love foreshadowing big collaborative crossover possibilities. We remember it with the Ghost Girl event literally 2 years ago when all the Vrains characters saw the protagonists at the gate and said they were going to investigate more. Well, I guess they're still investigating because 2 years later, and we've gotten no updates or further storylines from that event. We had the recent Marek event where Marek and Yami Bakura talked about how somebody must be controlling this world and maybe it's Seto Kaiba, maybe it's not. Now we are getting another potential foreshadowing storyline of a big world merging crossover event down the line. I think one of the biggest shames, really, of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links is that we are in year 10 and they have never done a Duel Links crossover event. You know, I've clamored for a long time about how cool a Duel Links anime would be, about how cool a Duel Links movie would be. Well, at the bare minimum, can you give us a freaking Duel Links crossover story event of Yugi and Jaden and Yusaku and whoever, you know, coming together to investigate something in Duel Links or take down a Duel Links exclusive villain? Like, that to me seems like a slam dunk way to get players back into the game, to get people invested into the game again. But they continue to hint that something is going to happen, whether it actually will or not. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is a totally another debate. But I'm happy that they had this inclusion, and I'm happy that they at least questioned why all of a sudden anime characters are able to come and manifest themselves in what's been a manga exclusive world for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters since Duel Links' inception. So I'm happy that they addressed that. That is really, really cool, and that's something that I'm feeling very positive and rejuvenated about when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. So, all in all, a really cool update. Again, I think you have to taper some expectations because this is not a new world. At the end of the day, this is simply an update to the DM world. But for an update, I think it's good. I think it could have used maybe another heavy hitter or another 2 alt styles or so. But overall, I'm going to give it a 7, maybe a 7.5. And I think it was ultimately a good update. But let me know all of your guys' thoughts, not just about the update and the characters that we have gotten, but about who you think is going to eventually come to this game. I mean, we know Darts is going to be down the road. Hopefully, we're not going to wait like a year like we did with Aigami and Dark Side of Dimensions World. Hopefully, Darts comes by the end of the year, but we'll have to wait and see for that. And let me know your thoughts on the update and the storyline possibilities here. Do you think that this conversation between Yugi and Yami Yugi is actually going to lead to something really cool? Or do you think it's just going to be, once again, them foreshadowing something that they don't really intend to ever follow through with, which I really hope is not the case. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you down below in the comments, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.